And we're live on the Metal Lab tonight. I am joined by my new partner in crime, Mr. Mike White. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Jay's out sick, and Tom, as we mentioned before, has been busy at work, so he's been hard to get in touch with, though I did only try to get in touch with him about 4 minutes ago. Mike, how's your week in Heroclix been?
Lacking in Heroclix, unfortunately. The film I'm working on, we've been doing late nights, so and weekend shifts. So I didn't get home until like 4 or 5 a.m. Sunday morning. So I missed the game I was going to play, and it was 500 points, Golden Age, and I was going to play a pretty awesome Serpent Society team that I think would have been fun. The real fun part was Death Adder. I was going to put Frog Mjolnir, however you say it, on him, because then he's tiny, and then he was also going to be in water all the time with +1 attack, +1 defense, and he's got the trait where you can't draw lines of fire to him. It was going to be fun. So, but it didn't happen. Sad panda.
Yeah. Myself and Amber actually got a chance to play in a nice casual tournament at the Comic Warehouse this week on a Saturday. The theme was 700 points, and if you have anybody with the X-Men keyword or team ability on your team, they get sidestep. Initially, I was thinking of pulling some kind of shenanigans with Magneto, but then my better judgment decided, let's just make an Avengers team and include a couple X-Men, because I really want to try to use Title Thor. So it ended up being like Title Thor, the two Avengery, the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch from Uncanny X-Men. Yeah. So they're both Avengers and X-Men. And
Unity Squad.
Yeah, and the Captain America, the Asgardian Captain America, the common, and then a miasma of Avengers after this. I also used a Ms. Marvel and Giant Man Colossals because I had 30 points to fill out, and Avengers. So let me tell you, I was pretty angry when I came up against my first game. It was our friend Aubrey played a Justin Seifert with a Nimrod, a 150-point Sentinel, and one of the smaller point Sentinels.
Gross.
The beginning of that game was the biggest nightmare I've ever had to deal with, of just sitting there and watching him slowly attempt to pick things off. Lucky he missed a couple key rolls to do anything to my Thor, and I was able to capitalize by hypersonicking all the way up, and then using the +1 or the -1 ability to bring that Captain America up, who would then charge and flurry with Blade's Claws, and that's where the game kind of started going in my favor. And his dice just didn't go. His dice were terrible, and for as much as he was able to maneuver me, he couldn't get to me, and I slowly picked him apart. Then my second round was against Amber. She played the brand new rock map that was at Rock World Cup, the 4 points.
Oh yeah, the amusement park. Yes, the amusement park. That's it.
Yeah, with a stack of X-Men, and I was able to maneuver around it. But that map is a lot of fun. It's an outdoor map with tight corridors. It's stressful at times. You're like, okay, I'm trying to line. This is an outdoor map. This shouldn't be a problem. And then my third match was against one of our newer players, Sean. He really digs the Yu-Gi-Oh! Clicks, and there's a lot. He brought a lot of the heavy hitters, like the 12 attack, 5 damage guys. Wow. And I was just watching things get obliterated with individual attacks. My overwhelming forces eventually got to him, but it was just like, oh, you're hitting so hard. Stop hitting so hard. Had a ton of fun. Won all 3 and got a Colossus, so I was happy with that.
Nice.
It was enjoyable to not have to overthink my team. Like, I just kind of went, I want to play Title Thor. There's X-Men in the thing. Pick a couple X-Men. I want to use the Asgardian, and then I just filled. So,
yeah. Oh, that's sometimes my favorite way to build. Just pick a keyword and start throwing in the stuff you like, and you go, I got like 75 points left. Oh, let's throw this in. Let's throw a Scarlet Witch in. Good times.
Yeah. Yeah. So on that note, we get into the news section. Now, news is still a little slow these days, but we're starting to ramp up the Harley Quinn previews. 3 in 1 day, as a matter of fact. It's exciting to finally get our first look here at Harley Quinn. And these previews, guys, they're a bombshell. 3 bombshells, as a matter of fact. We're going to start with the Bombshell Batwoman. Bombshells and Gotham City keywords. Her real name is Catherine Kane. Not that it's going to matter for much longer. She's got the Bombshell trait. When Batwoman makes an attack targeting an opposing character, give her a Bombshell token. It also comes with free. If she has 2 action tokens, remove 2 Bombshell tokens, then make a close attack. She's also traded with the ability to use Empower, but only if Batwoman is adjacent to a friendly character with the Bombshells keyword. And then so what you see is what you get, collection of powers. She comes in at 60 points with 6 range. And Mike's, what do you think of the Bombshell Batwoman?
Well, she's interesting. I think this trait, I look forward to seeing who else is going to have this trait in the set and ways to exploit it. She's a fun little piece. What's cool too is about the wording on that trait, saying, if she has 2 action tokens, you can remove 2 Bombshell tokens to make the free close attack. It doesn't say anything about not being able to clear her basically at the end of the turn. Right. So the nice part about that is if you can somehow get these Bombshell tokens on them quickly, you could theoretically act every turn. So that's pretty cool. I dig that. Outwit's nice. I mean, she's not any kind of meta piece with those numbers. But fun little interesting first peek at what we've got coming to us. Yeah,
this first one, we're seeing a little bit of the higher rarity, but it's good news to not see chases out of something themed like this. I agree with you in a lot of cases. I'm pretty sure she will be clearing the action tokens because in order to take the attack, it's a free.
Yeah.
So I see what you get. Like if you can keep the action, I mean, just keep going basically with her.
Yeah,
like the action tokens on her.
Well, because think of it this way: like the first, if she succeeds with an attack each turn, by the time she's got 2 action tokens on her, she'll have 2 Bombshell tokens on her. So then you take the 2 Bombshell tokens off her, and now she makes a free attack on that 3rd turn.
Are you ready for the good news? She doesn't have to keep hitting. So as long as she makes an attack, target.
Oh yeah, just makes one. What? Look at that! It's even better than how I read it.
Exactly. I love it when that happens.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty awesome. And this brings us to our next Bombshell, also only in the rare slot, Mira. Mira has the Atlantis, Bombshells, and Soldier keywords. She's also a rare, much like her predecessor there. She got the Bombshell trait, which is the same. When she makes an attack targeting an opposing character, you give her a Bombshell token. Then she can remove 2 as a free action and make a close attack, as long as she has 2 action tokens. Then she's got a special, another trait, Tough as the Sea I Was Born In. Toughness, Mira may remove any number of Bombshell tokens to reduce damage taken by that much.
That's awesome.
And then she's got a special attack power on her 2nd, 3rd, and 4th clicks, a Tidal Force. Quake, when Mira uses it, give her 1 Bombshell token for each hit target. And then she's got the Dolphin symbol, 6 range. She comes in 100 points. Take your thoughts there on Mira, Jay, or Mike. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Jay.
That's okay. Really interesting piece. I think at 100 points, she's kind of priced maybe a little out of being anything meta per se, but looking at that combination of powers and the traits is very interesting. Especially, I mean, second click becomes better, not so much with the 9 attack, but if you can pull off a Quake in a crowd of people, that's a lot of Bombshell tokens that you can get. And she obviously benefits from having a lot of Bombshell tokens because of being able to reduce damage taken. That's pretty cool. Especially, I think if I'm reading that correctly, if you work that in conjunction with the Possessor, who has a damage reducer, you could reduce damage and then afterwards further reduce that damage. Because it's damage taken?
Yeah, so what'll end up happening is you'll if you have a different reducer, her reduction power isn't based on the toughness itself. Toughness is just a power she happens to get from it.
Yeah.
So what'll end up happening is there'll be an impervious or an invincible that you might give her from a Possessor, like you're saying, and then you can remove tokens. And if you're reducing 2 already, you go 3, 4, 5, or 6 from there. So
that's pretty sweet. Again, like I'm not looking at her dial as necessarily being the kind of figure that you want to build your team around in a very competitive game. 100 points. She's not a flyer, limited stats, but that power, that trait, I don't know. I think that's pretty darn cool, and you can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah,
again, with the potential of getting a lot of tokens on her.
Yeah, definitely a table game type of figure, not so much seeing the competitive table, that's for sure. And next and finally, we move to what everybody's talking about. I had to zoom in on Zatanna. Oh boy, there's a lot of reading. Right. She's got the bombshells and mystical keywords. She's got the bombshell trait, which we've already discussed. Then she's got a special power, mystical channeling. Free, remove any number of tokens named bombshell from among friendly characters and give them to a single friendly character with the bombshells keyword.
Huge.
Yeah. And then, not my familiar, my friend. Zatanna begins the game with the John Constantine bystander attached. While he is attached, modify attack by +2. Power, detach the John Constantine bystander and place him adjacent. Free, if the John Constantine bystander is adjacent, reattach him. I'm doing that on purpose because Jay's in the chat and he's going to lose his mind with my pronunciation of it.
Nice.
And we also have the John Constantine bunny. He's got 4 movement with leap climb, 18 defense with super senses. He is tiny and he has probability control.
Hilarious.
Oh my gosh, this thing is so cool. And it comes in at 50 points with 6 range. Now the attack seems low, but as long as that little bunny is attached to the base, that's an 11 attack across the board.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, come on, 11 attack with Psychic Blast. She's got prob. That's pretty good. I like her. 50 points. And again, like we're already talking about that new trait. She is gross in mixed in with that trait, you know. So you got all these different figures on your team, and they're all pulling bombshell tokens, doing their whole targeting of people. She compiles them all, drops them on somebody, makes them even awesome. I mean, Mira obviously right away in my head would love to hang out with Zatanna because yeah, she could theoretically never take damage, except for Pulse Wave because you know Pulse Wave doesn't care about anything.
And one of the big discussions that's come up too is the idea of now this is a lot of actions in order to do this, but you could feasibly use the Zatanna ID card, bring this Zatanna out, take power action with her, drop the bunny. Now the bunny's on the board along with the Zatanna. You make another attack. Hopefully you've had this lined up already for some kind of bomb attack that's probably going to hit with 2 probs handy. And then once Zatanna is gone, the bunny is still here.
Yeah. And that's a nice, cheap little prob. I mean, come on. And he's not so easy to get rid of. An 18 is a pretty solid defense. You got super senses. I've rolled out of many bad situations thanks to that D6 roll. So that's nothing to sneeze at for 5 points for a call-in to get prob for the rest of the game.
2 other things I want to point out is that it's 18 defense on a tiny character.
Yeah.
And secondly, Zatanna has Mastermind, so if you happen to have the bunny out, I'm just picturing somebody making an attack and say, no, attack the bunny instead.
Yeah. So she's really good, 50 points. I mean, I think you'll see her on some teams, especially with those keywords. Mystical.
Yeah, well, mystical specifically.
Yeah, mystical is like the go-to generic, really.
Yeah. And it's it's going to be a sealed bombshell for sure. Like it's funny that the bombshell is a sealed bomb in this case, because we know when powers like Outwit and Perplex get included in sealed, like they're so much more powerful, and especially probability control and sealed, insanity.
Oh, absolutely, because it's so much harder to pull off a themed build. Though some sets have been nicer for it, like Thor. Definitely, you can pull off an Asgardian themed build in a sealed set, but we don't know how Harley's going to pan out. So, absolutely, prob is huge in competitive sealed.
Yeah, absolutely, and not only the like just in kid, like prob is everybody's favorite power, because I always said you can't perplex a critical miss.
Nope.
But you can most certainly prob it
into a critical miss. I mean,
well, I do that too. I'm not unfamiliar with the probability control into a critical miss from a miss. It's like I should have just kept the miss. I would have been better off. But that's the nature of probability as it is.
Absolutely.
So this is our first look at sealed, and it's starting to come out. The people are talking about it. WKOs are around the corner. And I know just in our local area alone, I mean, in the province and area of the southern/northern Ontario kind of thing, we have 3 coming just in our little pocket of the universe. And there's one constructed one over in Quebec. This is the greatest time to be in Ontario as a Heroclix player, let me tell you. Mike, are you planning on hitting? It's and all of them are dated to start after Harley Quinn, so it sounds like Harley Quinn is the set we're going to be using.
I'm
first
hoping
look so far. Are you saying, you know, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a great set for this, or?
I mean, it's still really hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think the numbers look like they're in the zone of the trend that had began with Joker's Wild and in some ways Uncanny X-Men. We had a lot of figures in that set that were in the 50-point range to the 75-point range, which made it a lot easier for building at 300 points and having like 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 figures on your team. So this is continuing that trend of those 50, 60, 75-point figures, which I like. I like that for sealed. I think it makes the sealed environment much more interesting. You're not, what's the right way to say it? You're seeing so much more variety potential in what people are going to pull and what people are going to field, and that makes the sealed environment much more open, and you have more chances at things, as opposed to playing in a set where certain figures come out and they just completely, they're like a runaway figure in a sealed event. I don't think we're going to get that in this set. It doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we've seen 3 figures, so
yeah,
who knows?
Exactly. I was going to say, we've seen 3 figures out of 60, so the actual number of the set we've seen, not fantastic. No. This is a set that's probably reading like it's going to seem like Joker's Wild, though, like you said, there could be some bombs that we haven't seen yet. We've also seen DC have a habit of having some pretty chase level bombs. Like
that's really
Finest was pretty notorious for that.
That's really where I'm more worried, is what the chases are going to be. And that's when the bombshells will really drop, I think, as it were.
Yeah. Well, and it's at ebbs and flows. Sometimes, you know, I feel like they don't design with sealed in mind, but when they do design and sealed with sealed in mind, we get Civil War.
Yeah, so unfortunately.
Double-edged sword sometimes with this. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to with the number of sealed WKOs we have in our area is not having to hear the word Unimind. Because if you've been paying attention to the conversation for the past couple of weeks, and we even talked about it last week ourselves, that green blob of plastic is what's on the tip of everybody's tongue right now. Is how do you deal with this guy, and how are we, like, do I just have to play him? Is that the case? And I mean, it's going to be great to be like, you know, not hear the words while I'm playing it. And then, you know, with our luck, what'll happen is it'll end up being Thor sealed. I'm going to have to hear his.
No. Let's not think that. Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed. Harley sealed. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't deny that if you're sitting there at a Thor sealed and you're the guy who pulls that green blob, you're feeling pretty damn good about things. That's nice, you know. I've got a golden ticket, but yeah, I've never found that to be a fun environment for you know, overall play. It's just better when it's a well-balanced set and everybody sort of feels the potential, and you open it up, and you may not open it and be able to go, oh, I've got the winner right here with blank. You can build something fun and something interesting. I mean, I've always loved sealed. I feel it's the great equalizer, and I feel it's the one that really shows people who can play the game on all levels. You know? Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I found too with World's Finest, there was a situation I was in specifically where I looked at it and I said, oh yeah, 200-point Superman, how could it go wrong? That's how it could go wrong, as I started throwing those little randomizer cubes.
Yeah. The dice are always there to make the best laid plans of mice and men go to hell.
Or in this set's case, bunnies and men.
Yes. Or Dyson men, maybe?
That's Dyson men, yeah. That's also another one. So now that we've kind of recovered from Atlanta and everything like that, it's one of those situations. We're in a very slow lull right now. We don't have a lot of news coming out. We're kind of hypothetically talking about things and whatnot. But Halloween's around the corner, and this is that time where Halloween scenarios start to pop up and whatnot. And I mean, we're gonna have one more episode probably next week where we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about it. But the Undead set's been out for a fair bit of time. We did our initial discussion about it way back in the day, back when everybody was talking about Thor, because they came out on the same day. Since its release, have you had a chance to play against, play with, or see any of it in action, Mike? And does any of it kind of pique your curiosity when we're talking about the game right now? Has your mind changed about anything?
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually was trying to build something with figures from that for the Rock World Cup. I'd actually fiddled around with a 400-point monster team that was centered around Maestro because I really love that figure. I don't know what it is about him. There's something there. He feels like a real appropriate Hulk, and I keep trying to make him work. But anyway, so I made a team around him, and I had Dr. Frankenstein on there, which was fun for basically using support, even when based or free action support on monsters. I tried throwing Grim Reaper on there for the whole that whole funky stop click thing. So when you hit somebody and you deal damage, you deal 1 extra damage to them, and if they're still alive, then you heal them back the 1. So it's a fun way of getting rid of guys with stop clicks. And like a vampire baron and a ghost. I was fiddling around with all that kind of stuff. I like the set. It's a fun little set. As you know, and some of the other local people know, I've tried to stay away from the things outside of the main sets of Marvel and DC. I don't buy movie sets anymore. I had to sort of put my foot down money-wise. I can draw the line somewhere with this wonderful game of plastic crack. But this set drew me in. Like when we saw the previews in Columbus, I was like, "Oh man, this is." Come on, Ghost of Abraham Lincoln. Oh, come on, I gotta get me something like that. So it's a fun little set. I've actually looked forward to playing more with the set and trying it out with people. I think there's a lot of interesting figures in there, and with the low points, I think there's some good filler potential. Meta filler pieces there, stuff that can sort of slide in and maybe help you out. Again, I love the Dr. Frankenstein support thing. I think that could be super beneficial. And we've already got Goblin King. There's a monster right there that's already in the meta in the competitive stream. So if you're trying to play theme to get that bonus to maybe get a map roll, here's a whole bunch of nice filler monster pieces.
Yeah, It's funny. I've been looking at Jacob Marley constantly since having to deal with the Unimind and trying to figure out that way around him. And it really, it's just been the one figure like that really stands out to me personally in the set. And I just try to come up with the things has been the challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy coming up with things that are not super strong on this front. So.
Well, I think a figure that pairs really well with the set too, though, I'll say Bizarro Batman.
True. Yeah, because he
60-point monster figure, and he just picks a power and says that power can't be countered. I think there's something there. There's something to look for there. Maybe something that could bring down the Unimind. Think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a thought. And now I got to bring it back down. And it is a constant question. We talked a bit about it last week, and I don't know if you've had a chance to think any more about it. But this is another week we have to spend talking about the Green Blob again. And I brought it away from it. We got to bring it back up again because I'm already starting to see questions show up in the chat. Imagine, Mike, you had no choice but to go to a constructed WKO. He's going to be there. Is this a play him or die sort of meta, or do you think there's something there that we all might have missed?
Man, that's tough, man. It's really tough because when you see that many Unimind Nighthawk Prime teams played effectively, and it's like the simplicity of it all, really. It's a numbers game we roll dice. If you can fudge the numbers in your favor, that's a good thing. If you can stop your opponent from fudging the numbers in their favor, that's also a good thing. Well, how do I not play that then? You know, like it's right there in your face. I think that there is some stuff out there that could be put together to defeat Unimind, but the scary thing is some of it feels too much about Unimind. And then if you build that and you build that team to deal with Unimind, and then you don't face him, what do? You know, like you don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much. I don't know what I would do. Honestly, I have to be honest and say I'd probably play Unimind. Like I don't know, I don't know how I don't right now. Like I'm fiddling around with some ideas on things to take him down. I don't want to spill the beans just yet, and if I can come up with that, and I'm going to be doing some play testing with some people, then I'll try that. But right now, yeah, until Harley comes out and shows me something special, it's Unimind Nighthawk Prime right now.
And that's one of those things where we have to look at it and say, this is a tough spot right now. It's Unimind or bust right now. Unimind Nighthawk Prime too, because you got to deal with that that disparity of when they're going to bring Unimind, I've got to be ready for their Unimind. And then what's going to end up happening in each game is who's going to kill the Nighthawk Prime first. Right?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, that's going to be what a lot of the games come down to. And this is the hard part, is it was exciting at Rocktober, but then the science has kind of been figured out to a certain degree. So then it'll be it's looking down to there's going to be 65 points on the board that everybody's going to try to, if not completely, score. Yeah. And then it comes down to what else are you putting on the board that might possibly be scoreable, or is the danger element, right? Because this is what happened to Easton Brock in the final at Rocktober, is he had that extra 10 points on the board. And
it's funny because those 10 points were there to help protect Nighthawk Prime.
That's right.
Get the armor on Nighthawk Prime. Now he's less one-hit killable. And the irony of that piece then being used to defeat his team, wow. That's thick.
Yeah. So that 10 points might be better served as that Supreme Intelligence on than the...
Well, actually, I was looking at Supreme Intelligence on Nighthawk Prime, because then now you've got TK on Nighthawk Prime to start, which makes Unimind even more of a missile.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the hard part of this type of meta. It's tough right now because we've had the conversation. It exists. We're now having that future conversation. It's like when you get into constructed, be prepared for this. What I'm worried about is that it's going to scare people off. Don't let it scare you off. Unfortunately, it's going to be the tough matchup in all your cases. If you can beat it, and there are teams that are able to compete with it. If you guys watched Rocktober, Kenny Pena had a team that was probably one of the better ones out there to deal with it, where he had on the board. You know what? I'm going to try to remember his team off the top of my head, but here's what I do remember. There was a Mr. Steth and Joseph Mjolnir. That's a combination that's got to happen.
Yeah.
And then he had the – what's that?
Couple of Carnages.
2 Carnages. Now, that's where price starts to factor in. So, sorry, this team got really expensive real quick.
Oh, yeah.
2 Carnages and Meow Meow. So, there's that. And then we have the Lokis, the common Lokis from the Mighty Thor. You play the 65.1, you pay the extra 10 points for him. Now, what ends up happening is you switch him out using the round table to the super rare one that makes Wakandans. This is a solid numbers game starts to develop. You also play the Raven from the Wonder Woman set, the small countertop display set. And so you got a Black Panther ID on a round table that I remember off the top of my head. Okay, here we go. PJ Bolin has thankfully provided me with the team in the chat. Thank you, PJ, who's having a conversation when we're off the air. It's Mr. Stephen Mjolnir, a 65-point Loki with the 2 other Lokis on the side. It gets replaced by a Black Panther. He's got 2 Carnages on the team, 1 Skyscraper Wonder Woman, and a Raven. The Skyscraper Wonder Woman helps with breaking, blocking terrain. And, well, she's got a pretty decent thing altogether. There's a Lex Luthor Black Panther, Wonder Woman, Shield level 7, and 2 other ID cards that PJ can't remember. I'm pretty sure the Green Arrow's got to be one of them.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, Green Arrow.
Yeah, and Nightwing. Yeah, I remember Nightwing. He brought the Tony Zuko out, and the Nightwing ended up.
Tony Zuko.
Oh,
I can hear Pedro. I can hear Pedro all the way in Brazil right now. Zuko.
Pedro in the chat. Sorry, we're about to trigger you. Yeah. And the other thing too is there's elements to its own mirror match in there when it comes down to it, and that's one of those things. If your team becomes good, you got to think about. Sometimes the best laid plans aren't going to only come to you. Sometimes just a good team will come to somebody else as well, and you got to kind of prepare that. You know, like in Kenny's case, he planned that. Oh my gosh, somebody else is going to bring something similar to this, and I need to be able to beat it. So plan for that when you're building something off kilter, but also very good. And this is, as we just described, this is one of those teams that's not necessarily the team that everybody is playing, but it is a team that can compete with what's out there. So for those, there's a lot of questions. I'm going to pull her up now. I'm going to pull up that Raven that we're talking about because, my goodness, she's a very cool part of this team. So let's screen share that right now. All right, so Raven, 4 clicks of health, 40 points. Teen Titans team ability doesn't really factor in much on this team. She's got a 6 range, and then she's got a special movement power on click 1 and 3 and some mid-dial psychic blast. But where it all comes in is in this teleportation power. Give Raven a power action, choose an adjacent friendly character with a mystical keyword, or up to 2 adjacent friendly characters with Teen Titans keyword. It's going to be the one. Place Raven in a square within 6 squares in line of fire and place a chosen character adjacent to you. So basically on the first action, you take Raven, you take a power action with her, you move her up with the Mistress Death. You got Mjolnir on turn 1.
Yep. Meow meow.
Yeah, meow meow, as we called it. And anybody who's interested, it's the Raven our daughter played in one of our games where we're teaching our daughter Alexis how to play Heroclix, or the Super Lex games as they are. So there is an option, and working off of Kenny's math, you might be able to come up with an alternative strategy. In some cases, I wouldn't push the alternative strategy. His strategy is kind of tight-knit and strong. Bring lots of Lokis.
Well, obviously, you know, one thing that you'd want to be thinking about is Unimind is a big figure. He takes up a lot of points, which means if you're facing a Unimind team, you're not facing a lot of figures. So if you can out-action him, that's definitely a good start. And then anything that locks him down. Part of what makes Carnage really good is busting out those symbiotes with the plasticity. They lock him down. They're sacrificial. You don't care if anything happens to them. If they die, it doesn't cost you any points. But now you're forcing Unimind to deal with figures that aren't scoring your opponent any points. And again, it's a single figure wasting actions on stuff. So that's a good strategy in general. Anytime you're facing a team which is centered around one main figure, is out-actioning them. Lock them down and out-action them.
And one of the keys Kenny also got out of the out-actioning, as you're talking about, was that Black Panther, because that Black Panther has leadership and follows the new leadership rules. So I'm going to pull him up because he's another lesser-known figure. Some people are aware of him, some people are not. But he is the super rare from... Oh, I've made a terrible mistake there. I shared the wrong screen. All right. So this Black Panther, 65 points, highest authority in the land, friendly characters with Wakanda keyword, modify their attack values by +1. And then he's got a special leadership on his first 3 clicks, Sacred Ruler of Wakanda. Black Panther can use leadership, but succeeds on a 4 to 6. When he doesn't succeed after action is resolved, you may place a Wakandan warrior from outside the game in an adjacent square with an action token. On a result of 4, the character begins on click 3, 5 on click 2, on 6, it's a click 1 character and doesn't receive an action token. So on a really good leadership, you get that as well. You get that extra action, which you need to use because this team will start to generate figures very quickly.
Yeah.
So all of this kind of puts together. This is a lot of people are like, can you out action it? You can, but you have to be able to use those actions. It's one thing to say, I can out-action it because I have more characters. It's another thing to say, I can out-action it because I have more actions.
Yeah, and it's tough to, I mean, the nice change to leadership is the automatic +1 action, but the downside is now there's no stackable leadership, right? You can't now load 3 or 4 guys on your team with leadership, hope you get a couple of rolls, and now you've got, 5, 6 actions in a game. It's only +1. That's all you're getting. So trying to out-action a team when you're really going to be hard-pressed to come up with more than 4 actions, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah. So this is one of those trains of thought. Is a lot of people say, can you just out-action it? You can, but you got to be able to capitalize on the out-actioning, as we say, because it's one thing to do, it's another thing to finish.
I root for the ghost of Abraham Lincoln and a whole bunch of zombies, and him, that trait where basically he could give them all like a free close attack at some point in time. So I root for an overwhelming swarm of zombies to eat a Unimind. Hey, they do want brains.
Yeah.
Unimind.
Was it the Shambler that came with Precision Strike?
I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, I got to pull it up now and find out. Zombie Shambler does not. No, it has sidestep. That's what it is. Darn. That would be so cool if we had zombies with Precision Strike. But there is the one with the Incapacitate. That's based zombie. So pay attention to that. So so we go back to this. Is if you're going to a constructed WKO, you're fighting an uphill battle for a little bit until we have a better idea of what might be available. Some of the ones later in the month may have Harley Quinn available to them, which could go a long way. But in the meantime, right now, the way the environment, and a lot of the constructed ones are early parts of the month between the 4th and the 11th. Those are going to be, the ones where you kind of find out just how bad this kind of is.
Hope for no Uniminds. No Uniminds.
You can hope for it, or just hope for not 100%. You know what I mean? So, that is what it is. That's our survival thoughts. Now is the time you want to start getting your ideas together, get your testing bunches all up, and start filling with ideas to start some play testing. Because Harley Quinn is mid-month, and if your WKO's in the early part of the month and is constructed, you need to start making your decisions now because your meta is defined. It is
absolutely
nothing new except Thor Ragnarok is out, and if you can make that Grandmaster work.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck to you. We could take, I think what we'll do is we'll take a couple minutes, talk about the figures in Ragnarok, because, what else do we have to talk about at this point? It's a bit of a slow week. We're, of late, I haven't been big on the movie sets lately.
Yeah.
So WizKids did. We didn't ask WizKids to send us one this time around, probably on our fault. So we didn't do an unboxing either. So I haven't got mine yet. But for the most part, these sets are usually pretty simple characters, so we'll go over them pretty quick. We got the Thor, which is 001. What you see is what you get. Indomitable, 75 points. He's got a trait, allies in the gladiatorial arena. Knockback free, make a close attack, but only the target opposing character is already knocked back at least one square by another friendly character this turn. So it's generally the idea to combo him with number 3 Hulk, which has got the same thing, except no charge, etc. And slightly different stats. Loki here, 70 points. I think he's practically this is not a competitive play. This is a learner figure for sure. Super senses and toughness on a special defense power. When Loki uses super senses, succeeds after a resolution, he places him in an adjacent square. And he's got a special damage power on his first 2 clicks, which is outwit and probability control. Kind of an okay figure. I'm probably not going to see a ton of competitive play, but neat in the general sense of teaching somebody some powers. Next up, we have Heimdall. Come with me to safety. Phasing teleport when Heimdall uses it. He has passenger 3, but only to carry characters with the Asgardian keyword. Comes with like an 8 movement with sidestep. He's got a special defense power on his first 3 clicks. Super senses, when Heimdall uses it, roll 2d6 and allow one to be able to roll a result. That's pretty obnoxious at a 60-point character. It's a lot more work that you want to have to do with this. And what you see for what you get out of this, not bad. I just wish there was like an ID card or something that can really add the oomph to him to make him really cool. Then we have the Valkyrie, last of her kind once per game. When Valkyrie would be KO'd by an opponent's attack and is adjacent to a friendly character with a higher point value, turn her to click 5 instead, which is her last click. She's got defend across the dial, so basically there to increase defenses. Some blades in there, charge, some sidestep, some power. Then we have another Thor, figure number 6. He's 100 points. Need to learn humility as his trait. When Thor takes damage from an opponent's attack, give him a number of humility tokens equal to the damage clicked. Free, remove any number of humility tokens for each token removed. Modify either attack or damage by +1 until your next turn. That's pretty cool, but he's got to take damage for that, which with some impervious, this is not good. Again, a lot of these don't expect to see competitive play. Otherwise, get these out to let some friends learn the game. These are great because we have these new rules. It's a great time to start teaching some new people how to play this game. We have the Hulk. Need to learn control. When Hulk takes damage from an opponent's attack, give him a number of anger tokens equal to damage clicked. Free, remove any number of anger tokens for each token removed. Modify either attack or damage by +1 to your next turn. And this is this front end dial of lacking in movement attack. Really kind of makes you go, really? We get the second Heimdall. So this is again doubling up on figures. This happens a lot lately. Sounding the call of the Gjallarhorn is his trait. Power once per game. Remove an action token from all friendly characters in the 6 squares with the Asgardian keyword. He's also got a special damage power on the first 2 and last 2 clicks. Eyes on Asgard. Probability control. Opposing characters within 4 squares in line of fire can't use probability control. So prob, that stops use of prob. If it wasn't for his points, that would be a pretty cool figure to be using. The Grandmaster, we discussed him a little earlier. 75 points, power cosmic. Let's see who is stronger. He's got prob on all 4 of this 4-click dial. Pretty high defense with some energy shield and power cosmic, 9 range. Power, choose a friendly character and an opposing character adjacent to it, both within range and line of fire. The opposing character makes a close attack targeting your friendly character. Then the friendly character makes a close attack targeting the opposing character. This is a good way to bully some characters, smaller characters from your opponent's team out of the game. Next, we have at 25 points, Odin. You can add +25. You fools have been doing my bidding the whole time. During first instruction, you may include the Lokis on your sideline. When an Odin's favorite token is given, after resolutions, roll d6. On a 5 to 6, replace Odin with one of the Lokis on the same click number +1. Each time a friendly character with the Asgardian keyword hits an opposing character, immediately give them an Odin's favorite token. Friendly characters with one or more Odin's favorite token may modify attack +1. And then sorry, that's the trait. The trait is 25 points. I think the Odin is supposed to be a different point. I'm not 100% sure. You know what? It's a tool to bring out your Lokis. So it's either going to increase attacks on Asgardians if you start attacking and hitting, or it's going to bring out a Loki after you've done some of that. The other Valkyrie, 50 points. Inspiration to heat of battle. Friendly characters within 4 squares modify attack and damage by +1 if they are damaged during the previous turn. All right, if you plan on taking damage. The other Grandmaster, phasing and all the support powers, holographic projection. Grandmaster's actions don't count against your action total. His combat values can't be modified, and he takes a maximum of 1 damage from a range attack. Master Manipulator. At the beginning of your turn, you may turn Grandmaster to another click. If you do at the end of your turn, roll d6 and turn Grandmaster to that click number. He can't be healed in any other way. So this is a character who's got a ton of support powers, a ton of really coolness. He's got a random click every time. And, I mean, generally this is a support character that's got all the options, but is very susceptible to some close combat chicanery. So be careful with your Grandmasters, especially if they aren't on click number 1. I went and hit a button on my mouse that did that. All right, next up we have 125-point Odin with power cosmic and a what you see is what you get dial with 8 range. Then we have the Fenris Wolf. Swallow you whole. Each time Fenris Wolf KOs an opposing character after resolutions, give it a growth token. If it has 1 growth token, it has giant. If it has 2 or more growth tokens, it has colossal. If it has 3 or more growth tokens, modify all combat values by +1. He's 75 points. Powerful Jaws, Blaze Claws. When it uses Blaze Claws, increase the result of d6 by the number of growth tokens it has. And then it's got a special defense power on the first 3 clicks. Super senses and toughness. Not bad, not great. Gonna be definitely cool in some really in some fun games. And then we have Hela, 100 points. I brought this army to the dead of the dead to the gates of Asgard. Hela starts the game with a rise token. When a character that isn't a bystander is KO'd, heal Hela 1 click and give her a rise token. Free, remove a rise token, generate a fallen warrior. And a fallen warrior is 6 movement with charge, 10 attack, 7 defense with combat reflexes, 2 damage. All right, and then of course, as we have Hela, once again, very simple. What you see is what you get type of character, and these types of characters, like again, this is when we get to these movie sets. A lot of times there'll be one, maybe two standout figures, but for the most part, this set just kind of stands as a hey, you watched a movie, you like board games, want to play some stuff with me, for the most part. Mike, any thoughts overall on the set as I auctioneered my way through it?
Yeah, you pretty much got rid of that one. It's a movie set. Thankfully, nothing in there that excites me. So it reminds me that I made a good choice not to spend money on movie sets. I will throw in though that 60-point Grandmaster with the whole crazy dial. He could be interesting. He could be an interesting filler piece potentially. He could make some things different. But yeah, I wouldn't spend any money on boosters to try and find him.
For the most part, when it comes down to it, these sets, if you're looking to complete a full set, grab one gravity feed box, like a whole countertop display, gets you an entire set except for one of the chases apparently now. So a lot of cases, I think this was 14, 16 figures. So you get pretty close to two sets actually.
Yeah, usually.
So, if you have a friend not really interested in the chases and they want to pitch $20 towards it, give them all the extras. It's a good thing to split with friends as it was. So, all right, Mike, we're going to move on to fan questions you have, unless you have anything else you want to discuss before we move to that.
Nope.
No. Yeah, it's
a slow week.
It's post-October, pre-holidays. We're getting into we're going to have to start doing things like coming up with topics to discuss and make this show fun somehow or something like that. I swear we used to do some kind of Google Doc or something to organize this show, and then I got a job where I can't access Google Docs at work anymore, so I guess I'm gonna have to just do that after the show or something like that.
Yeah, put some work in or some shit. I don't know.
All right. But before I go to the fan questions, I want to remind everybody, if you want to support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclix. Any valuation gets you access to the patron hangout, which we're actually having this Friday on a 9 o'clock or 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might be a little late because I work, and work has been very super busy. But Amber will be here, and then I will join her shortly. And this is your chance, if you are a patron, to ask any silly questions you have of us, be it about the show, be it about Heroclix, be it about my goofy hair. And it's definitely not my hair on my head. That's the goofy part. So that's any valuation. As well, any valuation gets you access to the patron Discord, which I'm going to be showing Mike how to use tonight, or describing how to use Mike tonight. And you might see his name pop up in Discord on a semi-regular basis, or he might start getting the notifications that we get throughout the day. And it's where we kind of discuss things as far as the game is, concerned, or how, just how our day is going in general. We have a movie chat, whatever you want to talk about in there. It's just a fun place to talk amongst those of us who really like both the channel and the game of Heroclix. So again, check us out, patreon.com/marriedwithclix. But without further ado, it's time to move to questions. And the first question we have is from Sam Powell, wife of the Rock World Cup champion, Daniel Powell. Is there any particular piece you hope to be in the Harley set? What powers do you think will be seen the most in the Harley set? I'm hoping to see more on-dial prob. Well, I think we've already seen some. We've got a double dose of on-dial prob there. I'm really looking forward to the lady over Mike's right-hand shoulder. I'm not going to bring my framed picture of it down because that's up there. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah. Bombshell Wonder Woman. You know what? I'm the small picture and not on, so there's mine. So I do like it, right next to my Wreck-It Ralph sticker. Mike, what are you hoping to see in the Harley set?
That's a tough question, I'm not sure because, I have a leaning towards the Bat Family more than anything else, and we've already seen the preview of the one Batgirl. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm looking for more villains, some more street level villains again. Maybe some bat related villains. Something like that. I'm excited for some of like street level fighting, all that stuff. Ooh,
Any
you know what would be
powers?
really nice? A black canary.
A black canary would be.
A
You know
black
what?
canary would be really nice, actually.
Because you know what they do with black canary on a regular basis? They give her pulse wave.
The great equalizer.
Give me I have 9 months right now left, and it's going to be 8 months once we hit November left of this current meta, and this current meta is the last one with those World's Finest ID cards. Can I use that black canary one more time?
Yeah, right. Like that's. I think we need a black canary, and it would be great if she had a pulse wave that was also in cap.
Yeah, that would be. I would be acceptable.
So that's what I would say.
Super acceptable. All right. Next up, Tiago Pinto da Luz. In a fight between a Canadian and a bear, who will win? I want to point out that I don't have a say in this because I am a Canadian bear.
My question is what kind of bear? As there are many bears.
There are many bears. There's polar bears, Kodiak bears,
black bear, grizzly bear, brown bear. Yeah, I need more details.
Is it a koala bear? Because I'll go with a koala bear.
Yeah, a koala bear. Could be a stuffed teddy bear. I've got that one down.
I wouldn't go they're nasty.
Is it the bears on Church Street? Because they also come in mixed. Hold on.
Right? So.
That I'd pay money for.
And the other question is, do I have maple syrup with me at the time?
Yeah, exactly. My question is, who has the puck?
Game on.
Yep. All right. Next up, PJ Bolin. We all know there's always the top tier pieces. If Unimind and Jakeem were not around, what do you guys think would be dominating the format right now, if anything? If it's not clearly dominant, what do you think would seriously contend? So if it wasn't Unimind and it wasn't Jakeem, I want to throw Devil Dinosaur's hat in the ring, back in the ring as it was.
I think that's probably a really good choice. He's pretty hard to get at to start with those with that special defense power of his, and the bystander tokens again out actioning your opponent and at no cost to you. I think you're pretty right on that one, Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah,
and obviously Goblin King would be interesting because it's still pick a power. Pick a powers are great, and Al Jordan because I'm Canadian.
Yeah, it's apparently a thing we do now. I also, as you said, Al Jordan. When it comes down to it, though, even when there is a Devil Dinosaur, there's so much that I don't think we'd have a dominant. I think those two figures gone would actually make the meta go everywhere.
Oh, totally.
Because we also can't discount Shredders. We can't discount and one of the guys on our Discord just mentioned the Sam Wilson cap.
Yeah.
She's a huge enabler.
With Overdrive, yeah. We've still got the double Doc Ock evil out there in the world. That's pretty effective.
I think the metagame would just explode wide open if that was the case. So yeah, I think that's where it is. It's I just admitted that if those two figures got banned, the game would be fixed. And I'd never like to admit that. I never like to admit that banning fixes things.
No, sadly, no.
And Ryan Nelson, who I had the pleasure of meeting down at Rocktober, also reminded me a lot of that one of the characters from 30 Rock. A blonde. What's the actor's name now? He also played Fix-It Felix.
I don't know.
He desperately, he very much reminded me of the character for sure.
Ryan Nelson.
What's that?
Ryan Nelson.
Ryan Nelson? Yeah, he reminded me of.
Right?
Yeah.
The guy from 30 Rock.
The guy from 30 Rock. Thanks, Amber. What was his name? That's the part we got stuck at. But he was a pleasure to hang out with, very enthusiastic. But he thinks Elijah Snow would actually make a show in that case.
Lower point, Elijah Snow, Jack right?
McBriar.
Yeah, definitely. Jack Breyer. Jack McBrayer is what he looks like. Look him up. Now make him blonde, and that's Ryan in a nutshell.
Love you, Ryan.
We love you indeed. That is all out of love. When you remind me of a celebrity, that's your face stuck with me. We got into that all because he said Elijah's no. Michael Fedor, he wants to know, is Proteus still useful in the metagame? Can I field teams with him still? Yeah, you can. There's all kinds of nonsense you can pull off with Proteus. I mean, that team that I played against the Canada Cup was really potent. 100-point Carnage. He had the Proteus on the 50-point Hulk from the Fast Forces. He had a Mr. Mxyzptlk on his team. And then he would call in a Lex Luthor, toss his Hulk at me. His Hulk would attack my team. And then he would sidestep because he had Supreme Intelligence on his Hulk, attack me again because that's what the Hulk was doing. And then once he was done puking all over me, I was forced to attack the Hulk. The Hulk would turn into Proteus, and then the next turn, if I'm staring down a Proteus if I haven't killed it yet, and a retaliating Carnage.
Yeah, Proteus is still totally useful. I mean, you know, it's a guy who boosts up your stats. If you've got a figure that can handle the damage from that, that's huge. And like you said, all of a sudden he pops out, and you got this guy who can just pulse wave you in your face.
Yeah, and only takes damage from close attacks.
Yeah, with an 18 defense.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm setting up for the finale here and moving on to the chat room where I have to find those big capital letter questions. And it's been a very busy chat room today, so I want to thank. There's a lot of high-level players up in here. We got Pedro Roca. We got PJ Bolin, Aaron Cantu. Jay is in here. Jay's out with a throat thing, so
throat thing.
Throat thing. Probably just finally needed a week off. He's been very busy on the channel with me lately. Oh boy! All right. Wow, it's been a while since I had to dig this deep and look for the play. All right, here we go. So the Rugged Dookie, who is Aaron Cantu out there. Remember when DC used to have all the powerhouse figures and Marvel had all the good support? I would love to hear your thoughts on this change. Well, when it comes down to it, 50% of the powerhouse figures that everybody's talking about right now is Jakeem Thunder. So, I mean, Unimind is only one figure right now that we're talking about. The Nighthawk Prime is just an enabler. And we still talk about the Kingdom Come figures. There's still a threat out there. Green Arrow.
Yeah, that trend, honestly, that trend has been around since way back. I mean, even the first time the Kingdom Come figures came along back in was it
Legacy?
Thank you, Legacy. I wanted to say Unleashed, but it's
both
even
sets had them. Legacy was the first one with them.
Yeah. Even then, like, there was always that thing. Marvel would come out with a set, and there would be these kind of support and middle-of-the-road figures, and then DC would drop a set, and it would be like the killer meta giant beast figures, like Icon Superman back in the day. He single-handedly had to make them change hypersonic for him. What a gross jerk he was. I loved him.
And then 3 months later, though, then we'll get a Marvel set with another big guy and some DC support that's in there.
Yeah, it's the way of things, and the way things will always be, really.
Yeah. We've got that Battlestar Galactica. We've seen this before. This has happened again. It will happen again. Kind of mindset at this point, because me and Mike go way back in the game.
Yeah.
Way back. And Aaron also has a follow-up question. He says, what will Jason give me if I win my WKO without Unimind? Ask Pedro what he gets for bringing me Subway sandwiches. All right. And now that I've broken both Amber and the internet, Happy Little Heroclix wants to know, how many Uniminds need to show up to the PAX Unplugged regional qualifier for WizKids to errata him? It depends on how many WizKids staffers are there.
Yeah, really.
I think if there's going to be any event that WizKids' attention is going to be on, it's going to be Highlander Games. For one, it's in Jersey, which is right near their head office. And two, I know a couple people there who know people. So the conversation is going to be had, I'm sure. But yeah, if it shows up in great number, I'm sure. In that case, next up,
one would hope. Yeah. One would hope.
Yeah. It's just as long as WizKids is there to watch, that's generally where. As long as they're there to catch the attention of it, or the right person sees it, that's where it moves up the ladder. But we also have to understand this watch list is a quarterly thing. And the last watch list we had was June, July.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen really before the end of the year. I don't think. They're not going to bother to rock the boat now.
And at this point, what will happen is the WKOs are going to happen. Then it's going to be December. Now, if it come December, we might actually see things get put on the watch list.
Yes.
But then nothing's going to happen until the beginning of the new year.
Exactly.
So
really, that's what we're hoping for, is that by the end of the year, maybe we at least see his name pop up on that watch list, and that means, okay, great, WizKids is thinking about it, and hope for the best.
Yeah. Tiger Alchemy, do you think a POG team outbeat a Unimind by overwhelming him with numbers? Well, a POG team can do it, but they got to not have Jason Collins dice or Jason Collins luck in general, or they have to have opponents that are just better. Because I tried it. I did, and I was definitely not for lack of POGs. Like, I had a Penguin creating POGs. I had the Devil Dinosaur creating POGs. I had Carnages creating POGs. Like, I had POGs on the board. It was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. It's always possible. Those symbiotes, they've got an 11 attack and potential to do 6 damage with blades. So, sure, there's always a chance. And if you've got the numbers and you can keep rolling dice, you kind of have to hope that eventually the law of averages will work in your favor. Hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if I look back on it, there's a lot of situations that came up where I had, all right, cool. I think out of 8 Carnages I made in the Swiss, 2 of them hit and 1 of them did damage. That's just strictly against Uniminds. I made plenty of attacks and did damage with plenty of them, but the ones that were dealing with Uniminds directly, they would hit and then they would roll a 2 on their blades. What's that going to do against Invincible or Impervious, right? So
yeah.
And you can't expect a POG to have Precision Strike along with blades, along with Shape Change, along with Super Senses. It's a crazy.
You gotta get that POG to pick up the Enchanted Crowbar.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Yeah, Enchanted Crowbar is starting to look real good lately. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I've got plans.
All right. I know I saw a question here that was lowercase. I just got to see if I can catch it. This is why I try to get you guys to put capitals, because if you look through this chat, there's a lot of conversation happening up here. We go. Here's a question. Fabricio Granados. I've been away since the booster, since the What If set came out. From that set onwards, give me a fast opinion on the sets. You don't mind. there's your opinion.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And Fabricio Granados asks, what do I get for winning our WKO, all rusty and forgotten? A pat on the back? Why do people think I give people prizes for winning WKOs? What did Daniel Powell start over our Critical Clicks? Or Clixed off, sorry. Critical Clicks is the other one. Tiago Pinto de Luz, when is the next Rocktober? I miss you guys.
Next year.
Yeah, but T minus a year. A lot of silly stuff going on in this chat, guys.
We miss you too, though. Again, big shout out to the boys from Brazil. They were so much fun to hang out with you.
They were a ton of fun. Also, Tiago, remind Pedro. Tony Zuko.
Zuko!
Zuko gonna get you!
He pulled out a bazooka.
Bazooka. Oh boy. All right. On that, Mike, any parting thoughts before we head out on our way?
No, just I'm still loving Heroclix in spite of a bit of a stale meta. I'm looking forward to these sealed WKOs. I think that they're a lot more fun, and definitely, if you got to get out, people, get out there, and don't let the fear of a Unimind in a Thor set scare you away. It's still Heroclix, and with dice, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's right. So always keep your head up, fight through it. If you don't want to fight against it, don't be discouraged if you do happen to lose. It happens. Sometimes your great ideas just aren't enough. It's happened to me. Just get back on the horse, try again. And guys, we know what to practice against. So You know, at least there's that. As long as you have a Unimind handy or you have HC Realms and some coins to put on a map, you've got a chance. So with that said, I do want to thank our sponsors over at hcrealms.com. This is where the Heroclix is happening, folks. The homepage is full of all sorts of neat articles, ideas, and hypotheticals in the game of Heroclix. Got the unit section is the best place.
Unit section.
It is the
Always.
tool. I don't know a single HeroClix
Live
player
by.
at high level who doesn't use it. Track your collection.
Always here. It's always ready to go.
Build your teams. Be ready with your sets. Check out the forums if you're looking for ideas and see what people are talking about. Be aware of everything that's going on. And while you're here, click on the shop, buy some cool stuff, and put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. We're also brought to you by our friends over at MajesticCCG.com. Check out the Apex Insiders, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. It's the site where you're going to get great brain dumps from great brains in the game of HeroClix. And some of these guys, or all of these guys, are very, very well-decorated HeroClix players. And also myself and Jay are regular contributors. I plan on working on something at some point and sometime, I'm sure. But if you, at $3 a month, gets you access to the great brain dumps. And, you know, for free, you do get the occasional article from myself or from Amber, from Jay, that aren't necessarily paywalled. And you also get updates on a regular basis on the major tournaments, Rocktober, which was just recently, all kinds of high-end events.
There's an article up there right now, Adam Friedman, talking about his thoughts about the meta and the Rock. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. And that is the brain. That brain is just full of the knowledge. And it just dumps out of his mouth sometimes. It's kind of funny. Just hang out around Adam Friedman, and by proxy, you'll catch.
You'll get clicks all over you.
On that note, folks, I want to thank everybody for watching. Check us out at patreon.com/MajorClicks. I want to thank Mike again for joining us. It's been great having you so far, and we look forward to further episodes with you, and we'll see you in the Discord very shortly. And guys, Unimind's out there. Get him against on the table across from you and get some practice, because practice will make your team better. And never forget, the Bombshells are coming, and the Bombshells should bring... Uh-oh. Where is it? There it is. This. Have a good night, everybody.